Hello and welcome to White Hat Riddles. I'm Angel.
And I'm Krasi.
And today we're going to talk about starting a career in cybersecurity. All right, so Krasi, it's a very exciting field. I think we're growing every year. What would you recommend to people who want to start in cybersecurity? Or shall I say, who is this industry for? That's our most important.
First, I would recommend to be ethical.
Yeah. First ethical and then hacker, or first hacker and then ethical?
Yeah, indeed. But you know, the reason why we're creating this episode is because we have a lot of requests on a daily basis. Like, hey guys, you're experts in the field. How do I become a cybersecurity expert? What's the first steps? Can you teach me? Can I spend some time with your company and work for you? Can I volunteer for some projects? You need to have certain skills so that you can get started with cybersecurity. Mm-hmm. But first of all, I would say, why do you want to start with cybersecurity? Like, what's the motivation? When we're talking about cybersecurity, it's always about what's your reasoning for this one, you know? It's not just... Some people want to become cybersecurity experts because the profession is... sexy.
Yeah.
It's just
from the movies,
nice, you know.
Yeah. You watch Mr.
Typing on the
Robot
keyboard, hacking different passwords, and I would even say hacking your classmates or your crush account. Then that's something that a lot of people want to do, but that's not a cybersecurity expert.
Hacking the Wi-Fi network, I think, is the most common hacking. I mean,
of the neighbors.
Of the neighbors.
We just talked about how you can intercept someone's network by connecting to by cutting their cable and connecting to their...
Yeah, I mean, that's the original hacking, before the internet. You just get something and you hack it.
Yeah.
That's not how it works now.
Yeah, back in the days, I was actually planning to put a wireless sniffer in my post box, and I was just planning to connect to whatever Wi-Fi, leave it in the post box, and be able to connect anytime when I'm going and walking on the street. But I mean, that was my kiddo entertainment.
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot of things obviously on the internet around how to do it, what's the best career path for example 2025 or something like this. But to actually walk the path of cybersecurity, you need to have a very structured approach, I think. There's the industry is very fast. And essentially, it's matching the speed of AI right now. So you need to spend your time wisely if you want to progress. So thinking about this, right? How do we start? Where do we begin studying the path of cybersecurity?
I see a lot of people with the misconception that you can go for a certified ethical hacking course. Mm-hmm. Or you can just install Kali Linux on your system, and then you can start hacking and compromising applications and systems on the internet. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. You need to have some solid foundation. You need to have the base layer, the initial knowledge, so that you can start with this field. What is usually the initial knowledge? I would suggest having some programming skills, not necessarily being a skilled developer. You don't have to be, but you need to have at least some scripting knowledge, maybe some Python, Perl, for example, some low-level language. It would be good if you're doing application security. It's good for you to know some PHP, for example, JavaScript. That's the foundation on app layer application side. If you want to hack something, you definitely need to know how it works. How the systems communicate with each other, which means that you also need to know some networking, some operating system administration, ideally Linux, but also Windows and Active Directory knowledge will help you. And on top of this one, I mentioned about scripting. Yep. So what's the recipe? You need to know some application programming. You need to know networking, how the systems communicate. What is an IP address? What is a MAC address? What's the OSI layer, the OC layer, basically how systems communicate during the whole stack, how the traffic is converted, from electrical signal to bits, and how the communication is encrypted, decrypted, how it's getting encoded, what is a packet, what is a frame. These are like the basics that you need to know.
Yeah.
At least you need to know how the systems communicate with each other. And then once you know this one, you already have the foundation. Then you can start learning cybersecurity, because exploiting a system is not about downloading an exploit from the internet and just exploiting some vulnerability that you discovered with a vulnerability scanner. It doesn't work like that. First of all, hackers are interested in hacking, and cybersecurity experts are cybersecurity experts because they want to hack the system to find something which is not supposed to be there, something which is misconfigured or a flaw, design flaw maybe.
Yeah.
You want to crack the system. You want to bypass the security.
I think there's a kind of specific type of competence required for this, and there's a mental reward for the job. Unlike many of professions, are necessary but not, I would say, inspiring. Some people work jobs that are not the best, or they cannot consider the best. But in cybersecurity, I think passion is one of the core components, to start working it. Yes, you can go to university. Yes, you can study networking or cables or things like that, But if you don't have the passion to understand systems, let's say, for example, to investigate, to have this type of curious mind, let's call it, it will be harder for you to grow fast in the industry. That's what I think. And I've seen this as well in programming, right? Because people think, you don't need a computer science degree or anything like that. Well, the thing is, if you don't have a computer science degree, you will be a coder. You'll not be a developer or architect. You cannot be a software architect unless with a lot of experience. Probably you can, but going out of let's say 25 years old, you'd never studied computer science or something like this, you'll never be able to land a job for hundreds of thousands, because people will know that you don't have the basics that are required to build complex systems. But I'm not quite sure that this is specifically for cybersecurity, because the field is so big. It's the core components might differ actually. What do you think?
Yeah. First of all, let me ask you something. Do you know what a hacker means?
Actually, no, not in the original sense. They never looked at it.
Yeah, well, I see on the media a lot of people talking about hackers in a bad way. Like there is understanding that when you're a hacker, you're a bad person. You're a malicious hacker, and hacker originally it means that you are somebody who is interested to experiment with something and make it better, to tweak something and to make it work better, to serve better use. And that's that's what hacker means. So when we're talking about hackers, there is ethical hackers and non-ethical hackers. But when we're saying hackers, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad person.
Yeah. Let's say, in the context of this episode, we're talking about the white hackers or the
Whitehat Riddles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The riddle of becoming a good hacker, right?
But you asked me about universities, so let me come back to this one. I personally, my university degree is finance.
Yeah.
But I studied in a technological school, which is part of the Technical University of Sofia, and I studied computer networks. So yes, on theory, I can say that I participated. I have like official education, and I have an official degree as computer networks engineer. So that's how I started. I started from the networking side, and then I started learning operating systems, Linux administration. I started doing some OS and network pen testing, but some people are better doing application pen testing. Now, university degree, I don't think it's one of the solid foundation, one of the requirements. I don't think it is a must. I think it's nice to have, but you can learn pretty much the same skills, the same knowledge from public, open source, even free resources. I'm not suggesting that you should not go to university. Don't get me wrong. Right now there is a fight here in Bulgaria about the prices, the very high prices if you want to go to the university. But yeah, going to that's a personal choice in my opinion. Of course, a lot of people, they have to convince their parents. If they don't want to go to universities, they have to convince their parents. Now, simply not going to university is not a good strategy, But if you can back it up with off the grid, with offline, like gaining knowledge by yourself with other resources available on internet, then it makes sense, you know.
But I think in the sense that you say, right, university and school are not necessarily only a knowledge sharing place, right? Let's say school also gives you a structure of life. There's the director, let's imagine he's the CEO of the company. There is your tutor who is your project manager, and there's your colleagues who are actually your kind of schoolmates. And then you work on small project with someone, you work on big project with everyone, you have a company, annual party, or how school works. So some of the things I think you have to learn somewhere in a group, not necessarily in university, right? But if you're not doing the university, right, how would you then organize yourself in a structured way?
If you go to the university, make sure this is an applied university, because you need to have some hands-on experience. You need to have practical skills. Otherwise, I mean, let's talk about what you can do in the cybersecurity industry before we get to the resources, because these are quite different depending on what you want to do. If you want to be an information security officer, if you want to be an InfoSec security auditor, then theoretical knowledge is already good enough for you. You need to know policies, governance, you need to know risk and compliance, you know, which is more of a theoretical knowledge rather than practical knowledge. But if you want to be a red teamer or network security guy or a DevSecOps, then you definitely need the hands-on experience.
Yeah, 100%. And there's many paths. You know, when someone looks at the career paths in cybersecurity, you're going to see like one big board of like certifications. There's probably 200 certifications, right? But what do you think, or what do you consider the primary paths that someone can take in cybersecurity?
Talking about certifications, I see a lot of people going for the EC Council Certified Ethical Hacking certification. Now, me personally, when I'm recruiting cybersecurity experts, I would not consider those experts. I mean, you having a CEH certificate means nothing to me. It's a theoretical certificate which promises that you have cybersecurity pen testing knowledge. It doesn't work that way. I would rather consider someone with offensive security certificate, like OSCP, OSW expert. There is a lot of offensive security certificates nowadays. Certificate which proves that you know how to develop exploit code or how to reverse an application. That's already quite a nice certificate. I would definitely consider those people, and I would like to have them in my team. It proves that you know what you're doing. That's a hands-on experience certificate. It's a practical one. You have a lab environment that you have to, I mean, the exam is pretty tough. You need to beat the system. You need to be able to penetrate the system so that you can get the certification.
Plus, it's developed by people who work in the industry right now. You know, at least let's say I don't want to say anything about specific universities. You know, but in general, universities are falling behind in terms of and this is global. It's not only in Bulgaria. It's very hard to catch up with how business works if you're not in the business. And I think there's a very big gap, which is widening only every single year, with what the business requires and what the universities provide. I think that's so. Maybe obviously you make more sense in terms of hiring people, because practical knowledge from an industry expert today much more important than theoretical knowledge from someone who is tutoring university for 30, 40 years. They have the knowledge, but is it contemporary enough to be competitive? I'm not sure.
There is some good universities, for example, in Europe, that would be Delft in Holland, not in the Netherlands, in Holland. That would be Delft. I think they have some still pretty solid foundation. They give you a lot of knowledge, so people still are very satisfied with this university, for example. But yeah, there are not many universities where you can like get very good education in the cybersecurity industry. I think it's more of like people prefer public resources nowadays.
What
platforms?
What else is there other than universities, right? For every path right now, information is widely available. how do we approach it? I'm a young guy, let's say, theoretically, a young guy, let's say 18, 20 years old or something. I play a lot of games. I want to become, I think this is my passion to do something on the computers. How should I start this thing? How should I start my cybersecurity learning path if I don't want to go to to university?
Yeah, well, there is a few resources that you can use. Actually, there is a lot of resources, but there is some online courses and platforms like Coursera, Udemy, Cybery.it, specifically designed for cybersecurity. Cyber is designed for cybersecurity, and Udemy and Coursera, you can find a lot of cybersecurity courses. So that's one of the ways that you get your hands on cybersecurity. Now, one of the best free resources for cybersecurity experts is OWASP, the OWASP community.
Okay.
That's a free security project. Everybody can contribute to the project. There is a lot of resources, how to exploit applications, API communication, even network environments. You can learn a lot of stuff for free. In the OWASP security project.
They also provide the top 10s, right?
They provide the top 10s, which is the top 10 most trending threats and vulnerabilities, vulnerability categories for applications.
Yeah, no, they also do API, and I think right now they did the first one, top 10 AI. So essentially, a very good resource for those who are just starting and you don't know. OWASP definitely should be your first bookmark. These guys know what's up.
The AI one in particular is still pretty basic, so it doesn't give you a lot of knowledge. But AI, LLM pen testing, and in general, AI pen testing is now an evolving topic. It's under development. So
I think there's pioneers right now, but there's nothing which can be considered a stable framework.
Indeed, yeah. Also, there is SANS. SANS, for example, provides paid courses. It's quite expensive, though. If you want to get the course and the certification, you probably must be a nephew of the Nigerian prince. Otherwise, or at least the Saudi Arabian sheikh.
So get your oils up, guys, and start with the cybersecurity. Well, you're saying this, right? I think some companies can offer something like this, right? There are sponsored career paths and things like that inside enterprises, right? If I read it correctly, you can pay for some of these if you're already working. Let's say you want to switch career. You speak with your manager or something like this. If you work in a bigger, I would say, enterprise, maybe you can ask for some of these. Because I checked the prices for this for the paid platform, and definitely out of pocket for a regular person, in the SANS frameworks.
Well, we as a company, for example, we'd like to pay certificates because that's important for us. When we go and present ourselves in front of the world, it's important for our experts to have the certificates. So the certificate, while it doesn't necessarily give you it doesn't prove that you have the knowledge. It's the simplest
opener.
way. The simplest way to prove that you have some initiatives in cybersecurity and at least you know what you're doing. You might not be the best. The certificate doesn't prove that you're the best, but at least it proves that you know what you're doing. You know your basics. On top of this one, I think, a lot of companies provide those trainings, some of them free, some of them paid. There is also platforms, public platforms like Hack This Site, for example, or Try Hack Me, or VulnHub. There is a lot of available resources, Hack the Box as well. So these are resources that you can use for free, or you pay some small amount of money, and you get access to a lot of beautiful resources. Now, for example, with Hack the Box and with VulnHub, you have predefined vulnerable applications and virtual systems.
So it's like a sandbox environment.
Yeah. Okay. You have some vulnerabilities on OS network and application layer. And then you have a pre-built system and you have to find the vulnerabilities. And you can try it by yourself. It's not very expensive. You can pay some small amount and you can play. It's like a game, You just have the system available and you try to penetrate into the system. You try to break it in every possible way. And then some systems also provide you the opportunity to secure the system after you penetrate it. So these are some of the free resources and some of the low-cost resources. I mean, low-cost compared to a university degree, for example. And that's a very good way to get some practical experience how to break into systems.
And now another important question that everyone will have: how long does it take to become a cybersecurity professional?
Forever.
Okay, so we're learning
Forever young.
But let's bring it back. How long would it take you to land the job from zero knowledge? Right, this is what most.
Let me share from my experience.
Yeah.
I studied computer networks for 5 years. After that, I started working as a junior system administrator for 2 years. I spent another 2 years working as a network security / firewall engineer. Then I spent, I think, 2 years working as I was in a startup company, helping the team to build a multi-factor authentication, single sign. We had a single sign solution. That was the product that the company was selling. So we were building this one, and there I gained some additional knowledge. And then I started working as a pen tester, OS/network pen tester. So it took me, 10 years, but I've been doing a lot of things during those 10 years. And you can do it for 2 years. You can do it for 1 year if you're dedicated enough and if you focus yourself on building your cybersecurity career. Now, important to mention that cybersecurity career is not just about offensive security. We're talking about pen testing, red teaming, but you might also want to be a defensive guy. You might want to work with endpoint security, network security, which means that you're good with firewalls, intrusion prevention systems, even web application firewalls. You might want to work as a DevSecOps, which means that you have some knowledge in operating systems, in scripting, in programming. You know a little bit of everything. And then you can work as a DevSecOps expert. You can work as security analysts, which means that you have to analyze security events, security incidents. You're on the front line. You're reacting when there is an attack. You're trying to save the company. You're trying to investigate to prevent the attack. Because you might also want to be a forensics expert.
Yeah, I love that
digital
one.
Forensics expert.
I love this one.
It's like a digital investigator, and that means that you collect evidences that's after a successful breach.
You feel like a police person, you know.
Indeed.
When we did some of these things, you know, in the company, I participated in some of the things just on the side. This is fun, honestly. Like the forensics one, my personal favorite is the forensics one. Once everything is done, you just look at the data and you see some things that are kind of, you would think they're obvious, but when systems are running, they're not there. And then you provide some reports. You know, I felt like I'm in a Hollywood movie. You know, something like not Baywatch, but something more on the Miami type. What was the name of this? There was an inspector, Horatio inspector. Yeah, I felt like Horatio for a second.
Are you sure that you didn't watch a movie? Actually, because we've been watching some movies here.
Well, listen, I told you what was I dreaming, so I could have had a nightmare that I'm a forensic specialist. You know.
Yeah, but digital forensics is very interesting, and there is not a lot of experts.
I feel that if someone is starting right now, they should be thinking about what will be needed 2 years from now, not what is needed now. And it takes, I don't actually know whether there's still career advisors, you know. There used to be a lot in, let's say, 2005 to 2010, you know. Go to university as a career advisor. You go to a place where you want to study abroad as a career advisor. I haven't heard this in a while, you know, that anyone saying that they are a career advisor. And I think it's very important because when you see, let's say, the usual scenario that I am imagining is, I want to see cybersecurity. Let me check on YouTube, right? And the first thing that you see on YouTube will always be start in cybersecurity in 2025. This will always be the first video on YouTube, right? And it will be a specialist. He will have some experience and stuff like this, right? But this is one point of view. You need more than that, you know. And a YouTuber, let's just make one thing clear. If you are a YouTuber, you are a YouTuber. You're not in an enterprise hiring people for positions, right? So as much as you can be the best hacker,
you might be.
Hacker, yeah. Not a full-time YouTuber yet. But you need practical experience from the business environment to provide a good advice. I think that would be my approach, at least.
The example is pretty clear with the digital forensics expert. If you go on YouTube and you type how to become a forensics expert, then the video content that you're gonna see is how to extract memory dumps from the system, how to extract hard drive locks,
100%.
how to use Encase or whatever other software to analyze the digital footprints, how to collect logs from the network equipment out there on the internet. But nobody tells that this is actually, you need to know law, because when you are a digital forensics expert, it's very often that the police is calling you and you have to go and you have to give your expertise, official statement, official expert
you need
statement
to go to court.
in the court. And you need to provide evidence. You need to properly document what happened, what you discovered, and that's. I mean, you can put someone in jail.
100%.
Yeah, and you definitely make sure that this is the right person.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why there aren't many people in this field, at least from what I read before we recorded this, was the nature of the investigative work. That crime,
and the price. And the price.
And the price, probably. But the nature of investigative work when you're doing forensics sometimes is just beyond what people usually want to participate in. Usually crime includes minors, includes like bad. Let's just call it some things that you don't want to see, right? And it reminds me of the TikTok and other big social media companies. They hire outsourcing companies to monitor the traffic. And these are people who watch everything that someone is uploading, And these guys usually quit between 3 and 6 months. That's the statistic, because you can't take watching the stuff people are uploading to YouTube because it's so bad, Like uncensored, we're talking about uncensored, straight from the hose. Barely anyone can survive this, for long. So I think it might be something like this. Obviously, we're talking about a much better paid job than watching videos on TikTok and YouTube, but still, you need to have a special dedication, I think, for this one. You need to want to be part of law.
Yep. And sharing about your cybersecurity incidents means that you're disclosing this one to the authorities. Right now, with GDPR, with NIS2, with all the regulations in place, and all the government's requirements, there is a huge fine that you have to pay if you suffer cyber incident. In many cases, I mean, of course, if you take care about your security, you did all the best, and you still get hacked, then I don't think you're gonna pay the fine. But a lot of companies, and I'm not saying this is right, this is wrong. A lot of companies try to cover the traces, try to cover that something happened. They're not disclosing about they've been hacked, And that's one of the reasons why digital forensics is not so popular. I mean, if you're gonna get hacked, what is the chances that you're gonna go outside and, hey, I've been hacked?
Huge reputation damage.
Huge reputational damage, indeed. And also, it's very expensive. Pen testing is expensive. Forensics is at least as expensive as pen test. And then there is the mentality. A lot of companies are like, this will not happen to me. It cannot be true, probably the damage is not too big. But I've seen companies, they don't even know what was the data leak. Somebody compromised the company. They want some ransom in advance so that they will not publish the files online. The company doesn't pay the ransom, and they're like, okay, maybe they don't have anything about me. They are just like speculating. They are playing the poker game. Well, actually, I've seen those companies, and a lot of them are, now I don't know if they lied to me, but they said, well, we know that this data was leaked. And then I go on Darknet and I see that huge amount of data about this company, about their customers, was leaked. And I don't know if they know about it.
There's often actually, because I live mostly on LinkedIn, as you know, like let's say getting information, trying to get on top of the new things. And when things are actually leaked on the dark web, a lot of people actually share it on LinkedIn, for example, or Twitter and stuff like this. I don't think that companies monitor this actively. Not everyone. I think it would be a very big company to think about this. I love that you're teasing again our episode for dark web with this one. So keep this in mind. I will remind you again. This needs to be seen. One of the things about dark web, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was young, like a child and stuff like this, I watched hackers and things like that, and I always had a passion about this field. Not about being in a computer and writing scripts about this, but it's like imagine like a cyber knight, or something like this. You are in a digital battlefield. Essentially, that's what it is, right? When you think it in a creative way, seems like you're doing God's work. Someone would say, in terms of cybersecurity. But not everyone thinks like that. There's a lot of bad people, and I think as we began the episode, a lot of people, when you say hacker, they have a negative connotation of that. They think that this is a bad word. Do you have to be a bad person to become a hacker first, or how does this?
I have never been. And
that's what they would say.
And none of our colleagues, to my best knowledge, have ever been. Well. So, no, I don't think so. It's about mentality. It's about morale and ethics. Basically, it's about your first 7 years. So, what's the difference between a criminal guy and a police officer? Both of them, they have guns. Both of them, they can apply some force. But it's the mentality. It's why you're doing it. It's the reasoning. So, yeah, I think for those willing to defeat the system, willing to prove that they are better, they can crack the code, there is better resources. I mean, you can go to Capture the Flag events, which is actually you are competing with other hackers, so you can prove that you're better. It's basically a great learning resource if you want to be a cybersecurity expert, regardless if you want to be a bad one or a good one. Capture the Flag events. You can go, you can sign up for this one. You have 20 hours, 40 hours. You have an infrastructure with vulnerable systems, and the idea is you compromise as many systems as possible. You take the flag and you're securing the system in a way that nobody can break in and take your flag. So that's a great learning resource. Capture the Flag events. Another one is bug bounties. You can still compromise real companies in legit companies. You can just try to compromise Coca-Cola or Audi or whatever company out there with official public bug bounty program. But they have a predefined resources that you can try to compromise, and they give you a reward if you successfully compromise the system. So that's another great learning resource, and you're hacking some real life companies.
Yeah, I think HackerOne probably is one of the bigger platforms for bounties.
Crowd as well.
I looked at the Valve one, the creators of Steam. There was a discussion about payment providers right now removing games on Steam, and people were trying to hack the games and things like that. And I saw that they have a lot of they already paid more than 2.5 million in bounties in HackerOne. So these programs are active and they're actively rewarding people. So I think this is a very meaningful resource because what I think the gap might be is trying to find something which is actually useful to hack, building yourself on a website and you trying to hack it on WordPress, something like this. That's not a good training.
It's boring.
Yeah, it's boring, first of all, So having
better hack a power plant, right?
Yeah, yes. Or FBI or something like this, Plus, one thing I can guarantee you guys, if you successfully hack the FBI, you have a job now. You're hired.
We know a guy who that's what he did many years ago, and he compromised the agency and just
and that's why we haven't seen him
in the Kevin Mitnick style.
Yeah.
And this guy is disappearing from time to time. But he was caught and he was arrested after he spent some years hacking government agencies. At the end, they had him, and he was there. They were like, okay, now you either go to jail or you work for us for X amount of years.
Yeah,
you choose. And he works for the agency, and he's a good one and very well paid expert.
Well,
But I'm not suggesting that's not the proper roadmap. That's not the way to do it.
And actually, I think that at a certain point, you will know that whether you can do that or not before you start doing it. You either have the talent or you don't. It's not gonna be like a luck, especially with the big agencies. Okay, but let's say I choose a path, right? I want to do something. What are the motivations? I would think that someone, when speaking what to do with their life, imagine you're still younger, you're still making your first steps. You don't know whether you want to do programming or cybersecurity, right? What is the difference? What's the motivation? Let's say in your view. I say first the way that I think about it, right? Because obviously I'm not on the hacking side. I'm more on the business side. But the difference between this industry and any other industry that I've worked in is that everyone is actually helping each other, and the so-called partners or customers or however you want to call them, they need you. It's not like a need in terms of the marketing book need, This person needs a new, what's the name, the new pan or a new clothing equipment. It's not this type of need. It's actual need. It's a predefined need because of the environment that we work in. And everyone's trying to help each other. Everyone is a very communicative, very honest about issues, right? In which other industry people will tell you their problems? It doesn't exist, People are always the best. My clothes are the finest. The shoes are the great. It's not happening.
I always say that the doctor, the lawyer, and the hacker, you tell everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want them to help you, you tell them.
Eventually they'll find out. All three actually will eventually find out. The doctor is literally.
Yeah, but sometimes when it's too late, I mean,
usually.
If you don't tell the doctor all the details, it might be too late when he finds out. And same with the hackers.
Yeah, and with the lawyer, it's too expensive if you tell him too late. It becomes very expensive. But because we talk expensive, right? And I think I'm going to ask the question that everyone is thinking right now. How much money does a hacker make? Is it a good salary? Is it something that you should be striving for? Can you make a good living in Europe, in USA? What do you think?
National Revenue Agency, close your ears right now.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is a very well-paid profession, and now there is two ways to go for this. The corporate way, which I believe is more of a becoming an expert who knows some technology. You work with specific software or hardware. You might become an information security officer. That's more of a corporate job, in my opinion. And you might want to be a pen tester, red teamer, phishing, social engineering expert, security code analyst. I think that's more of a hobby that you turn into a well-paid job. Yeah. And both of these are very well paid, I would say. Mm-hmm. In the high grades, like the average salary, of course, depends where you are, but it might go from 150 euros per day up to 500-700 euros per day if you're a very good expert.
And this is saying this let's say in Bulgaria, we were just talking before the episode how an average salary in my city, for example, can be 800 euros a month.
Well, yeah, you will be getting that much per day eventually.
Yeah. Obviously, when we talk about salaries, we're talking about years of experience. You're not going to get a course and finish it and start working on these salaries. Obviously, lower expectations. Cybersecurity is a very practical profession. The more you work, the more you learn. There is no other way. If you're not on let's say if you're not solving real life challenges on the daily, it's going to be very hard to learn, especially with AI. Again, every episode probably going to talk about AI for a bit, but it is affecting the industry. What do you think is the importance of knowing AI? How important is knowing AI to start right now in cybersecurity?
Let me just put a disclaimer. If you're this kind of guy or girl and you're looking for a spouse, for a rich one, don't look in the financial industry. Don't look for the financial brokers. Look for the hackers. They have more money.
Ladies.
AI. Right now in OWASP, as you suggested, there is an OWASP page. Mm-hmm. There is a new project which is AI pen testing and red teaming. I mean, the industry is still very fresh, so there is not a lot of resources on the internet. But AI security testing is about prompt injection, about trying to trick the algorithm, trying to trick the model into believing that the data you're providing is legit and true. So basically overriding the database of if there is a database of the model, like suggesting that this is true rather than the information that the model has. So that's one of the things. Then you have a lot of things related with privilege escalation, user account control. That's very important when we're talking about AI security. That's included in the pen testing activities for AI implementations.
Okay. So if we want to, let's say, write or recommend to someone a structured way, let's imagine that we want to do 5 best things that you should start doing or planning from today to become a cybersecurity professional. What would be, let's say, top 5 or however many you can think about? People without a lot of knowledge. You might be something a lot of people actually transfer from programming. I think this would help a lot. If you are someone who already does programming, I think cybersecurity will come much easier just because you understand the structure of what you're hacking, which helps immensely later on. But what would be 5 things that you would recommend?
Go to the university.
Yeah, but you didn't say sign up for a university course. Just go to the university, you know?
And tell them that you want a cybersecurity career path. So the first thing is get yourself familiar with basic application programming, scripting. You can get the Cisco CCNA. You can take some courses. It doesn't even necessary for you to take the CCNA certificate, but at least you need to know the basic networks. I've seen a lot of hackers, by the way. They are very good at penetrating, cracking a system, but they're terrible at hiding their traces, which is, I mean, if you're a good cybersecurity expert, you definitely need to know how to hide your traces. Come on. And I mean, they know nothing about forensics. They're just leaving their traces everywhere, which suggests that they are not very good cybersecurity experts. I mean, if you're a good cybersecurity expert, you need to know all about it. You need to know how to work with the operating system, low level. You need to know PowerShell, for example. PowerShell is very important skill set, or CLI, CLI. And I would suggest put your hands on the virtual vulnerable boxes out there available on the internet, the ones that we discussed. Get some practice, spend some hours or months trying to break into a system, and then you can become an intern. Now, apparently, if you are a very well-paid developer, it's hard for you to become an intern because they're not going to pay you that much.
There's also, in cases when you're changing careers and you have to go back, let's say in terms of the corporate ladder, for those unfamiliar, corporate ladders have between 10 and 12 steps, starting with associate, I think is the first, to CEO. And when you're changing jobs, you usually expect it to go up. And when you go down, there is a dynamic, which is, I think, mental dynamic, where you actually have to start taking, again, management decisions from someone else and things like that. So I think that's what you're referring to. But this is also, how would say, overcomable. You can overcome this if you motivate it enough.
That's the difference between happy and unhappy people. The unhappy ones, they go one way and they're afraid to go back. They are afraid to make a lateral movement, even if this will sacrifice 1 or 2 years of their life. They are just afraid to make the pivot because they already have some steps on the corporate ladder. Now, I'm not this type of guy so I cannot say from experience, but I would suggest, if you want to chase your dream, if you want to do cybersecurity and you need to go step back, pivot and start learning again from scratch, do it. I mean, you're gonna be grateful to yourself. You're gonna be doing what you love the most, and this will make sense in your life. This will make true meaning for you. It will give you the reason to live and to wake up every single morning.
Yeah. And unlike art, for example, this will also pay well, because there used to be a saying, I don't know if in your family they told you that, but it's musician doesn't feed the house, so cybersecurity person can feed the house, so it's a worthy profession. And also right now, I want to say something in terms of more looking at the business side, right? Apart from what I said before, in terms of the way that people approach the business, you also have the opportunity when you work on the business side of cybersecurity to understand businesses of all levels. We solve challenges for people with 5 people as employees to 50,000 people as employees. And to solve a problem in terms of security or in terms of compliance, you need to understand the business processes, right? You need to understand how they operate, and you learn every single day. There's no boring day in cybersecurity, I don't think.
Yeah.
There's no boring day. Always something happening. And by something happening, I don't mean an incident. We actually, as a company, we don't work with incident response, right? We are in the offensive field, so we only help with incident response on the side. We're not performing the actual incident response, right? This also, for me, again, as I said before, the investigative work, I love it. I can sit all day looking at these logs. And I would never understand that it's like 12 hours pass, and you need to find something like this for yourself. And as a business person, as someone on the business side, right? There is a big opportunity for people who are in the marketing field, in the business development field, in cybersecurity. This is a field that's growing by the day. And my recommendation is for people who want to be on the business side of cybersecurity, understand what businesses have in terms of compliance needs. This is most of the people that you will be speaking to will be again on the business side, and their questions will not be related to bash or to shells or to scripts or anything like that. Their questions will be related to I want to be ISO 27K compliant. What are the necessary steps? Or the government needs me to certify with Swift or something else. What are the necessary steps, right? And for you to be able to solve these problems, sell these types of products, talk on events and things like that, you need to take a different path. And my recommendation, and it will sound silly, but biggest companies like OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, who else? I don't know, Facebook even probably, they all have a entry-level cybersecurity program, which is always free. Google's program is 8 to 10 hours, and it really starts from the core competencies that you need to become a cybersecurity professional, and you don't need to go much further than that. And once you get to know the basics, my recommendation to anyone in the business of cybersecurity is get inside the product, or if you're doing a product, or if you are working with penetration testers, for example, get into the product as much as you can. You need to know every single screen of the product. You need to know everything. What is a CVSS score? How does it affect this? How important it is for someone else? You as a sales guy or as a marketing guy, you speak the language of the company. The company speaks the language that you want at the end of the day if you are chief officer or whatever. So it's a very interesting field, even from the business side. Even if you don't want to hack, if you want to be, I don't know, whatever you're doing, in marketing stuff or design stuff or creative, I highly recommend cybersecurity. Very, very interesting field, high growth opportunities. I would say, in my view at least, very intelligent and interesting people working in cybersecurity. It's very hard to progress in cybersecurity in terms of reaching executive levels. These are competent people with a lot of experience, and let's say when someone calls you, they need you. They want to have the expertise that you so hard work to acquire, and this is very rewarding. I find this field amazing, But enough advertising.
Getting to know how to work with Kali Linux doesn't help you. It's not enough for a cybersecurity career.
Exactly,
yeah, well, the thing is, what's the difference between an automated security scanner, even the ones promising that they can automate pen testing, and a real pen tester? Do you know what's the difference? difference is the business logic understanding. That's why when you're doing pen testing, the most important part is that you understand the business logic. You can compromise the business logic. I mean, discovering a CVE or discovering, an injection, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, that's not so important. It's important. It's very important, but it's not so hard. It's not so difficult, and it's something that the scanners can automate. The scanners can do it for you. Now, if you want to bring some value to the organization, you need to know how to break the logic of the application, and that's the beauty.
Yeah,
that's the most important part, and that's only possible if you have your conscious mind, and if you can think about what a potential attacker would like to do with this application and how they want to make the application to misbehave in a real world scenario. And that's what makes you different from any other any automation scanning tool on the market. Now, talking about soft skills and business understanding, when we are hiring someone, we're not just looking for someone who is like a very good tech expert, but we're looking for someone who knows how to communicate, how to properly document important information like evidence, proof of concept, how to write down the steps. Like, I fingerprinted this application and I saw this, that, and this one. I used this resource so that I can do this and the other one, and then I made this one, and that's what I discovered, and that's the risk, that's the impact, that will be the consequences, that's what I modified. So you need to be able to properly document what you did, how you exploited the system. You need to be able to write down the steps. And that's why Medium, by the way, is a very useful resource as well. On Medium, you can find write-ups and someone who already discovered something. They have a pretty detailed steps, how they did, what they did with the screenshots, with the specific commands and scripts that were used. And if you want to be a cybersecurity expert, you need to be very good with properly documenting information. When you're working for a company or you provide this as a service, the company on the other side, the business, they will see the report. They don't know what you discovered and how you discovered and what's the risk and how critical it is if you don't put it in the right way in the report. And that's why, for example, Offensive Security is one of the best resources, because part of the exam is not about exploitation. 50% of the exam, or a bit less, is about documenting what you did and how you did it in a very understandable way.
Yeah. And I think that this also emphasizes the point that I said before, that the clients in cybersecurity, many of the times, okay, not most of them, many of the times don't know. They don't know what means secure in terms of everything, right? They come to you wanting to achieve security for reasons that sometimes even they don't understand. I don't expect, let's say, the manager of a power plant to understand all the risks about critical infrastructure from hackers from East, for example. They don't know. They're calling you and they want you to provide reports in an understandable way. As in my favorite movie is called Margin Call, and then
Are we watching the movie now?
No. We should. And they say. The CEO says to the analyst, "Talk to me as like I'm a young child or a golden retriever," because it's not necessarily a full understanding of the issues is present when you're working in cybersecurity, and that's why I emphasize the communication part. Even as a hacker, you will eventually meet a client. You're not very rarely you will be working from your basement forever. And essentially you will need to speak the language of the customer. He would not be able to come to your level. If he would be the hacker. You need to go back in the. That's why it's so important, and that's why it's so interesting. So many different problems to solve. Every industry can have a problem, and they're only increasing. New fields, new robots, new drones. Everything that has a chip can be hacked, right? Everything that has, I think everything that has an IP actually. But
cybersecurity is a very broad industry. You can compromise applications, APIs, LLM implementations, automotive, operational technology and SCADA rooms, cloud infrastructure, you name it. Everything which is somehow connected and can be managed from
remotely.
Remotely, then it can be hacked eventually.
So unlimited opportunities. Okay, I want to finish on a on a motivational note. The field of cybersecurity needs a lot more professionals that we currently have, and I think that there's a case to be made for better cybersecurity education, not as better content, because the content is great. You can literally find everything, but we're still missing a lot of people. So that means that the information is not the problem. I think the onboarding to the cybersecurity field, it looks very daunting, very, very people getting afraid. If I'm 17 and I'm thinking about where should I go to university, and I open the page with the cybersecurity certificates available in Europe, there's literally 200. And you're thinking, oh, now they want another certificate. And if you open a job application for cybersecurity, it's this long, it's so long, and they want you to have at the same time multiple types of experience certifications, I think we should make it less, let's say we should make people less afraid. The opportunity is great, the field is amazing. We just need to make the education more either affordable or accessible, I think.
You can also use free tools, by the way, to educate yourself. Yeah. It's not just about the technical knowledge, but you also need to know how to work with some tools. We talked about vulnerability scanners, so you probably want to know what the results will look like when you scan a system. Yeah. What's a vulnerability? What's the structure of the CVSS score, the CVE impacts, the affected resource? You want to know this information. You also want to know what an attack surface is, like what's visible for a system from the internet. You probably want to experiment with some system security. You want to know what failing system security controls look like, how they're failing, and what's the evidence. All these things you can do with free tools, like our community Kikimora. You can use it for a free educational resource. You can use Burpsuit. You can use the free version of Nessus, Acunetics. Acunetics is a paid one.
It's I don't want to be a shield, but I think with the new Kikimora, you'll be able to learn a lot of these things live.
Yeah, I think so.
Sign up for beta in the comments. But it's coming actually, a little show at the end. We have something very nice. I think will help a lot. I understand what it does. So everyone will be able to understand what it does. We will soon have more information about that. We're talking about, obviously, cybersecurity to help many people. What is our thesis, at least.
And we'll put all the resources. By the way, we talked a lot about capture the flag events, vuln hubs, and stuff. We'll put all the resources in the video description. Let us know if you know about any other resources. Let's make like a small library of resources. Yeah. So put your knowledge down in the comments if you'd love to.
Yeah. It's the sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring in cybersecurity. Yeah.
Last advice before we close. This is something that I've done in my 20s, and I don't recommend to anyone else. Don't fall into what is called tutorial hell. Don't do that. Watching tutorials is not learning alone on its own. You need to practice. You need to find meaningful applications which allow you to experience what you're learning while you're learning it. Otherwise, you will never do it. I've done literally a 48-hour course on how to do, how do you call these things, apps on iPhone, right? I've done it. I complete all the tasks. I actually have a MacBook that I haven't used in 6 years. Yeah. I bought it for the course, and I've never done anything after that. We're talking 2017, right? And this is because I was doing tutorials. I wasn't developing little projects that I care about. How many walrus projects you can do, right? That's not the point. Find yourself practical things. And if possible, internships. Best options. Yeah. But very common advice and very good advice, high competition for internships. I wouldn't be surprised in the next few years people have to pay to be an intern just because of how hard it is to actually find a meaningful partnership and how expensive it is for the experts to take time for interns. Indeed. This is the equation.
And my last advice will be the offensive security way. Try harder and never give up.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for being with us, guys. Leave your comments if you have any questions. Well, of course, we're always here to help. Cybersecurity education, anything you want. And if you want to see some guests or you want yourself to come in on the podcast, please shoot us a message. Have a good one.